I learn new things all the time. I'm sort of panicked that I will die without having understood not even, a fraction of it. It tends to be that. Ooh. A lot of bugs do that actually. And I'm even more horrified that most people don't even know a fraction of the fraction that I know. And I'm wondering, do you even really live if you don't understand life? We are in Bedford, New York, and we are in our backyard. Our property is almost 2 acres. I just did a calculation. I've got more than 2,000 species. That means that I am countering on average a new species a day. So I'm learning about a new species every day. When I understood that my phone is actually working as a microscope, that's when I really entered my garden in a completely different way, and it became really intriguing to me. It's like you enter a spectacle of living things. You shouldn't hesitate calling yourself a scientist when you are a gardener. Oh, this is a good one. You can do a lot of research in your own garden. This is a little caterpillar that camouflages itself with the little pieces of flowers. Keeps quiet now because we've scared it. Okay, let's put it back on the right flower. Look carefully how plants interact. Maybe that one invasive is invasive in one place but not in another. Maybe you have a native that doesn't work well with others and is a bully too. Keep observing and make interesting discoveries and share them with others. Here's a little sleepy bee. At the end of the day, they're getting very slow, and then they look for a place where they can sleep over during the night. And very often for bees, that's on a flower. I think people are starting to look differently at their landscape, because the landscape is actually the place where they can directly contribute to a healthier biodiversity. When we moved here 15 years ago, this was all lawn. Everything around our house was lawn. A meadow is a great solution, but it also requires its own type of maintenance, so you have to be ready and understanding how to do that. I started to let the grass grow about 5 years ago, and since then I have built this meadow piece by piece, all by myself, and with the help of seeds mostly. Yeah, I need to keep these, but those I have plenty. And it's almost a cost-free endeavor, but it's definitely not without a lot of energy. Our landscape has changed significantly. That means that we are missing important puzzle pieces. We lost most of our forest in this area, but we also lost keystone species like the wolves, the bison, and these animals helped maintaining the landscape. And now they're not here, we have to figure out how to take over their roles. The meadow is not a planting bed. A meadow is a habitat. In order for plants to establish in a meadow, they need to be able to throw out their seeds, and the seeds need to have contact with the soil so they can emerge. So in a prairie, that is solved because the grazers actually remove some of that organic debris and eat it, or you have a fire and that opens it up again. But if you're a homeowner, and especially if you live in a forested area like this, you have to do that disturbance yourself. So I actually go into my meadow and I remove things that create too much organic debris. And I generally just pile it up. There's no problem to have some of these piles. You can also go in here with a weed whacker or a brush mower. A regular mower won't do anymore, because when your meadow is really in full glory, it's actually the stems are too tough for a regular mower to take. So you need to mow with some sort of machinery, or pretend that you're a cow yourself and do the work yourself, which I really enjoy doing because I'm then right into my plants. I see what grows where, and I see also how my plants move around. So now this area is all opened up for seed again, and you have the pile. You can actually just leave the pile. It's almost like a huge cow dropping. I mean, this will be a sort of a more nutrient area, and other plants will like to grow in here than do here, but I just want some more variety in this area. So now I opened it up, and now seeds have a chance to emerge again in here. But it's really, really interesting to behave like a cow, and that sounds a little silly, but we know that cows are hugely beneficial for a meadow if there are not too many of them. They remove the debris, they create openness for plants, and not just for plants, also for insects. These open places in a meadow or in a prairie habitat are in itself also very important habitat for a lot of wildlife, and especially ground nesting bees. There's not so much life in a lawn. It creates emissions because you have to maintain it with engines that use gas, which makes noise. Pesticide applications are at a historical high. Never before have there been so many pesticides applied. And these pesticide applications are in suburban and homeowner yards way and way bigger than anywhere in the agriculture. It just needs a lot of resources to keep a beautiful lawn. I start Healthy Yards with a friend of mine, very locally. Healthy Yards is a grassroots organization encouraging homeowners and municipalities and communities to create ecological landscapes and to form their own groups, start their own seed swap events. I really like the idea of sharing stuff within a community because that opens up gardening for everyone. Since I come from the Netherlands, plants are incredibly cheap over there. These seeds are not ready yet. So I had I think you call it here sticker shock. I just couldn't buy plants. It was just too crazy for me. So I really started with seeds. It's very easy to collect seeds and to share seeds. This is the actual seed. So we really encourage people to form their own groups, start their own seed swap events, but also start talking with each other because your gardening problems are generally local problems. And the people that live around you have the same type of problems. And maybe somebody already doctored out how to solve it. It's really important to create these gardening communities and inform each other and share stuff. So if you are planning to make a meadow and you don't have the means to change all of it right away or fill it with plugs or with seeds, you can also isolate certain spaces in your yard and use a placeholder. And I'm doing that mostly with nepeta or with geraniums or thyme. I'll just plant a bunch of it and then I'll take care of it later, and it's very easy to remove. So I did this with this area last year, and I'm now waiting to see things popping up in this area, and then I'm slowly removing the nepeta accordingly. Let me just show you. Yep, this is actually very easy material to work with. You just break it apart, and this is the same for the geraniums and the thyme. You can break it apart in many different plants and then pop them in, and they will grow right away. Super easy. We have all kind of different and new situations that we have to deal with. We have more nitrogen, which functions as a fertilizer, which makes invasive grow faster. At the same time, we have, for example, jumping worms that eat the debris from the soil, which also washes away the natural nutrients that are in the debris on the forest floor, for example. They wash that away. So here I see some goldenrods, and goldenrods especially, they really like to grow with their roots underneath and then spread, and then they become very compact. So I'll just pull them out a little bit. I can also cut them, but I like to pull them because it's just easier. That way I create a little bit of disturbance, but I also open it up for other plants to seed again. And an advantage of that is that you also remove a lot of nutrients. And what people are not aware of enough is that we're actually having a nitrogen crisis at the moment. There's too much nitrogen in our soil, and that's to the benefit of the invasives. And if you have less nitrogen, the growth of the plant slows down, which actually gives a much better competing option for our natives that are moving in or growing often a little bit later than the invasives and are often outcompeted by fast-growing invasives. So that's the other thing. You remove the nutrients and you make it open for the seeds to spread. Here you see how the seeds can appear, here and here. These are all new species coming up. When I was a kid, I loved to play outdoors. The garden was not even bigger than a tennis court. We had a little pond, we had a microscope where we looked at things. I was just being alive in that garden with the other things that were alive. And I think nobody can take that away from you. Whatever happens, you can still build that place in your garden for yourself and for a lot of other animals, for plants. But the fun is really also not letting others dictate you how you have to do things. The biggest fun of doing this is that you will figure out things yourself. And the greatest, I think the most exciting thing of a meadow is all the stuff that comes in once you put open the doors. And I have so many beautiful native grasses, for example. And I remember starting with my front yard, all conventional, and pulling out every grass that I didn't know. And now I'm like, oh, here's a new grass, and yeah, you can build your whole meadow with these surprises. Take it out of, the perspective of politics or messaging or even ecology. Just try to look at it from a very playful, humane, primal perspective. And have fun. Just have fun in the outdoors.